What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're getting into my January 17th NCAA Bracketology Predictions from Joe Lendardi. Just want to say first, before we dive into this, was not able to get out the Friday one. I'm sorry about that, guys. I was going on vacation, just couldn't quite get it out. But now that the NFL season, my NFL content is all done for the year. I'm going to be turning my focus a lot towards basketball. So just wanted to let you guys know that. So expect a lot more NBA and bracketologies as the main focus of this channel going forward. I'll try and get these out as soon as the bracketologies come out, the dates. So we'll see if I can do that. But anyway, guys, let's dive into the bracketologies. Starting with the bracket watch, let's go here. Top overall seed is Kansas right there. The first team out, Kentucky, after beating Tennessee. Really, Kentucky's been on the downfall lately. Really has been falling until that Tennessee game. Huge win for Kentucky. That was a must-win game. And then last team in, we have New Mexico. Really, New Mexico hasn't been the same kind of team ever since they've joined into conference play. So on the bubble, Indiana, the last four is Indiana and Wisconsin. I do believe Indiana beat Wisconsin, so that's why they're above them. And then Memphis, Maryland. Last four in, we have Boise State, Oklahoma, Penn State, and then New Mexico. First four out, we have Kentucky, West Virginia, Northwestern, and Texas A&M. Then the next four out, USC, Utah State, Florida, and then Virginia Tech. So if we look at the 68-team bracket here, starting with these the play-in games. We have Oklahoma new to the field there, and then New Mexico. Morgan State going to be new to the field as a 16 seed, as well as Penn State new to the field at the 11. If you look at the Midwest region here, Kansas is obviously staying at the number one overall seed. We have North Carolina dropping down to an 8 seed. Their slide continues. Two teams sliding here. Missouri dropping down to a 9 as well. Rutgers is going to be jumping up to a 5 here. And then we have Marshall new to the field at a 13. Providence drops down to a 6. Nevada new to the field at an 11. Arizona drops down to a 3, as we have Seattle new to the field at a 14. Iowa jumping up to a 7. Charleston's going to be dropping down to a 10. And Gonzaga just barely beating BYU just by a smidge, as that was my team, BYU, over the last game. So that was heartbreaking for my Cougars to endure. But yeah, Gonzaga, they're just continuing to find ways to win. I do believe Mark Few has not lost in January since like 2018 or whatever, some crazy stat like that. It's just insane what they're able to do every year. But if you look at the South region, we have Purdue at the number 1 seed, Creighton jumping up to an 8, Pittsburgh going to be jumping up to a 9 seed. We have Oral Roberts jumping up to a 12. Duke continues their slide, dropping down to a 6. Youngstown State new to the field at a 14. Michigan State, after just barely losing to Purdue. I mean, I should have said this with Purdue earlier, but what a game that was between Purdue and Michigan State. Edey had a crazy last-second shot to win the game for Purdue, and Michigan State fans were depressed after that one, but still, Michigan State's a very good team in my eyes. And then Florida Atlantic, very scary 10 seed right here coming up there, and then Siena dropping down to a 15. In the East region, we have Alabama at the 1, UNC Asheville jumping up to a 16. We have San Diego State dropping down to an 8. Ohio State, I do believe they lost pretty bad to, I'm trying to think, maybe it was Indiana or Rutgers. I think it was Rutgers that Ohio State lost pretty bad to, so that's not good for them. Then we have VCU new to the field at a 13. Auburn going to be jumping up to a 6. Maryland dropping down to an 11. UConn going to be dropping down to a 3. We have NC State jumping up to a 7. Indiana dropping down to a 10. And then Texas. Also, NC State beat Miami. I do believe that's why they're jumping up a lot. And then Texas jumping up to a 2 seed after that crazy win against TCU. I mean, that game was – Texas had to battle back from like a 15-point deficit or something to come back and win that one. That was a great win for them. Then in the West region, we have Houston as the 1 seed and UMBC, the only 16 seed to ever win in the playoff over a 1 seed. He's right there at the 16 again. And then we have Clemson jumping up to an 8, Arizona State's going to be jumping up to a 9 seed. Whoa, okay, sorry, my dog just jumped up here. But then we have Illinois going to be dropping down to a 5 seed. Jumping up to a 5 seed. Liberty new to the field at a 12. We have TCU jumping up to a 4. After that, Texas lost, but TCU's looking like a very good team. I believe in TCU as a team. Then we have Southern Illinois new to the field at a 13. Arkansas going to be dropping down to a 6 after that Alabama loss. They just were not able to compete with Alabama at all in that game. And then Memphis jumping up to an 11. UC Riverside new to the field at a 14. St. Mary's jumping up to a 7. And then Wisconsin down to a 10. So that was a lot of discussion on all this. So let's finally get into the bracket, guys. If this will load, there it goes. Starting out with playing the first 4 games, we have Oklahoma against New Mexico. I do think Oklahoma will be able to beat New Mexico there. And then SE Louisiana versus Fairleigh Dickinson. I'm going SE Louisiana. Boise State versus Penn State. I'm going to go with Penn State to win that one, but it's close. And then Morgan State, I think, can beat Southern. All right, let's look at the bracket here. Starting out with this first matchup here, Kansas versus SE Louisiana. I'm going Kansas. Missouri, I think, can pull off the 9 versus 8 upset. Just don't really believe in North Carolina as a team right now. They're not playing good. Rutgers, I think, can beat Oklahoma, and Marquette, I think, can hold off Marshall. Providence, I think, can beat Nevada, and Arizona beating Seattle. Then we have Iowa against Charleston. I'm going with the 10 over the 7 upset here. Iowa's a good team, but I believe in Charleston just a little bit more, so I think that they can pull off that upset, but that's a good game. And then Gonzaga, I think, could be SIU Edwardsville. All right, going down here, we have the UMBC upset. No, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm not going with it. There's no way that UMBC wins 2-16 over 1's the only team to do that. That would be insane. You never know, but I'm going Houston there. Clemson versus Arizona State. Good game here. I'm going with Clemson. Illinois against Liberty. Let's go with the 12 over 5 upset here. Not a huge fan of Illinois here, and I think that Liberty can do some damage in the tournament, so I'm going to go with Liberty. TCU, I think, could beat Southern Illinois. Arkansas, I'm going to go with the 11 over 6 upset here, actually, guys. I'm going with Memphis. Arkansas struggled as of late. Right now, just a lot of injuries go into this team, and right now they're just not looking too good. So I think that Memphis is a good team to beat them as a really good 11 seed, in my opinion. Iowa State, I think, can beat UC Riverside, and then St. Mary's against Wisconsin. I'm going to have to go with St. Mary's there, and then UCLA, I think, could beat Eastern Washington. Oops, not that. Okay, let's go over here. We have Purdue against Morgan State. I'm going to go with Purdue here. Creighton, I think, could beat Pittsburgh. Miami, I think, could pull off the 5 over 12 win there over Oral Roberts, although Oral Roberts is a good 12 seed. Kansas State, I think, could beat Princeton. Duke against Penn State. I'm going to go with the 11 over 6 upset. Duke's just not looking like a very good team really at all right now. And Penn State's a very good 11 seed. Well, not very good, but they're a good team there. I think that they could pull off Duke. Duke's just not been the same without Coach K. Xavier, I do think could beat Youngstown State. And then a really good game here, Michigan State versus Florida Atlantic. I really like Florida Atlantic as a team as a 10 seed, but Michigan State I think is too good. I think they're underseeded at 7. I think they're better than a 7 seed, so I'm going to go with Michigan State there, and then Tennessee I think could beat Siena. All right, going over here, we have Alabama beating UNC, Asheville. I'm going to go with the 9 over 8 upset there against Ohio State beating San Diego State. Baylor, I think, could beat Kent State. Virginia can beat VCU. Auburn, I think, could hold off Maryland. And then UConn can beat Colgate. And then I'm going to go with a 10 over 7 upset here. Still believe in Indiana as a team and what they can do over NC State, who's a really good 7 seed, though. But I'm going to go with Texas over Samford right there. Going over here, though, we have Kansas versus Missouri. I'm going to go with Kansas. Rutgers versus Marquette, really good 5 versus 4 upset. I do think both these teams are Sweet 16 caliber teams and maybe even more. I just think that Rutgers is slightly a better team right now, so I'm going with the Scarlet Knights. Arizona, I think, could hold off Providence there, and then Gonzaga, I think, could beat Charleston right there. And then let's go over here. Houston against Clemson. I'm going to have to go with Houston. TCU, I think, could beat Liberty there, and then Memphis versus Iowa State. Iowa State's really been playing good. I'm going to have to go with Iowa State. And then UCLA, I think, could beat St. Mary's. Over here, we have Purdue against Creighton. I'm going to have to go with Purdue, although Purdue's been a beatable team right now, I think. No, I can't go with that upset right there. And then Kansas State, I think, could beat Miami. Penn State versus Xavier. I'm going to go with Xavier. And then Michigan State versus Tennessee. I'm going to have to go with Tennessee there. That's not a easy win for Tennessee by any means. Going over here, we have Alabama versus Ohio State. Alabama just seeming like too good of a team right now. I'm going with them. Baylor versus Virginia. I'm going to have to go with the 4 seed Virginia. UConn versus Auburn. Let's go with the 6-3 upset there. Not a huge fan of UConn, and Auburn's a good team. And then Texas, I think, can hold off Indiana. You know what? Let's go with the 10-2 upset. I know Texas looked very impressive against TCU, but Indiana's a really good team here. I still believe in them as a program, and I'm just going to go with it. I don't care what you guys say. I'm going with Indiana to pull off a big upset over Texas. You got to go some upsets. This hasn't been too much upsets right here in this bracket. All right, but Kansas versus Rutgers, really good game here. Versus Kansas. Ooh. Let's do it. I'm going with the 5-1 upset here. Kansas, really good team, but there's not been a back-to-back for a reason. I don't think that they could get there. I'm going with Rutgers. Let's do it. 5-1, really good 5 seed right there. Arizona versus Gonzaga. I'm going to have to go with Gonzaga as the 2 seed to win that one. And then let's go down here. Houston, TCU. 4-1 upset. I'm doing it again here. TCU over Houston. TCU is playing really good basketball right now. So I'm going to have to go with TCU there. And then Iowa State versus UCLA. I'm going to have to go with UCLA as the 2 seed. Going over here, we have Purdue versus Kansas State. Am I going to do it again? I'm doing it again. Kansas State, I think, is probably the best 4 seed. Purdue, like I said, they seem very beatable right now, and Kansas State's playing really good basketball. So I'm going to have to go with Kansas State there to pull off a big-time win. And then Xavier versus Tennessee. I'm going with the 2-seeded Tennessee. So a lot of 2 seeds advancing to the Elite Eight right now. Alabama versus Virginia. The only 1 seed I'm going to have advancing here to the Elite Eight is going to be Alabama over Virginia. And then Auburn versus Indiana, 6 versus a 10 seed. I'm going with the 10 seed Indiana for a little bit of a crazy a crazy Cinderella story there. Indiana advancing to the Elite Eight. All right, so for a spot in the Final Four, Gonzaga versus Rutgers. I'm going to have to go with Gonzaga here to pull off the win, although we could very much see Rutgers winning that one. TCU, UCLA, I'm going to have to go with the 2-seeded UCLA to advance. And then Kansas State versus Tennessee. Last time I went with Tennessee in this matchup. I'm going with the flip here. Let's go with the 4-seed Kansas State to advance to the Final Four. Really good team. I believe in this Kansas State team a lot, so I'm going to go with them to advance. And then Alabama, Indiana, I'm going to have to go with the 1-seeded Alabama. All right, so for a spot in the Final Four, we have Kansas State. We have Gonzaga versus UCLA. I'm going to have to go with the 2-seeded Gonzaga. And then Alabama versus Kansas State. I'm sorry, Kansas State. Alabama's just playing too good. I'm going to have to go with them to advance. And then for a championship game, we have Alabama versus Gonzaga. I do believe these 2 teams played earlier this year. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Alabama winning. But I think that this is Gonzaga's year. I think they're playing really good, just finding ways to win. And right now with this bracket all wide open right now, I think Gonzaga is the best team to win it. All right, so anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed the content. Comment down below your comments or bracketology predictions. And anyway, peace